Welcome again. My name is Deborah, and I'm the founder of Business Sales Consulting Firm. What we do is we help startup businesses from choosing a name, registering their businesses as an LLC or a nonprofit, whatever legal nature they choose to go with. And also we help with capacity building. We actually provide a lot of entrepreneurship classes and business classes, the basics when it comes to bookkeeping, marketing, digital marketing. And we also, in addition to the consulting piece, we also we do the products. So anything from graphic design, web design, signage, t-shirts, hoodies, billboards, branding, visual communication, we do all of that. So welcome again. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce April, who is with the SBA. April, you can take it from here.
Okay, can everyone hear me okay? Yes, okay, good. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the presentation, and I want everybody to feel free to ask questions. Since this is a smaller group, ask questions as needed. So let me see here. Okay. Okay, let me make sure. Oh, Lord, sorry. Okay. Let me make sure I can scroll through this. Okay, so everybody can see this, okay? All right. So I'm going to kind of go through this pretty fast because I want you all to have time to ask questions. So today we're going to talk about the introduction to SBA government contracting and certification programs, but mainly also how to get into government contracting, but it's going to be kind of a high-level overview of that. So most people don't know who the SBA is, so let me explain who we are. The federal government small business programs are provided in statute in the Small Business Act, which established the Small Business Administration. The SBA is an independent agency tasked with protecting the interests of small businesses and small business owners. Specifically, the SBA advocates for small business participation in government contract awards, provides financial guidance and assistance, offer small business counseling, and perform special outreach for women, minorities, and veterans. Of all the businesses in the United States, about 99% of them, I'm going to move on to the next slide because this is what we're going to talk about this here. Of all the businesses in the United States, about 99% of them are small businesses. Although the number of small firms eclipses that of large firms, the bulk of federal dollars are given to other than small businesses. Because small businesses make up a significant portion of our nation's economy, ensuring their continued success is a priority for the government. Consequently, Congress established several policies and programs to provide small businesses with assistance and guidance they need to establish, preserve, and strengthen their operations. By establishing these policies and programs, the government assists small businesses by providing aid, counsel, and assistance and protection, providing maximum practical opportunities for small businesses and government acquisitions, and preserving and expanding market competition, helping secure our nation's continued economic well-being and the viability of small businesses. So the United States, I want you all to pay particular attention to this slide here. The United States federal government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the world, with estimated purchases between $450 to $500 billion annually. The overall goal of federal contract awards to small businesses is 23%. So the government wants to give 23% of that $500 billion a year to small businesses, which is spread across the federal agencies. The SBA is responsible for ensuring that government-wide goal for participation of small businesses is established annually, and the reporting agency's achievements are relative to the goals. The SBA assigns individual small business goals to each agency based on several factors, including the size of the agency, the anticipated number and dollar values of total contract awards and past contracting achievement levels. In addition to this overall small business contracting goal, the SBA also negotiates specific goals for certain business categories, including small disadvantaged businesses is at 12%. That small disadvantaged businesses is our 8A program. So that we want 12% to go to the people in the 8A program. Women-owned small business, we want 5% of our goal contracting dollars to go to them. Service disabled veteran, 3%, and Hub Zone, 3%. The government typically exceeds in all these categories. Specifically in Nebraska, we have exceeded in these categories except for woman-owned small business. We fell below, it was like around 2.8%. So there will be more robust outreach in that area to get more women-owned small businesses certified in this program. Okay, so Title 13 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Chapter 1 covers all of the SBA's authorities, including guidelines and procedures for assessing small business size standards and procedures for the use of small business contracting program. It also defines procedures for the use of small business contracting programs. The guidelines spelled out in the federal acquisitions regulations implement the acquisitions related sections of the USC and CFR. I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at my notes here because I want to make sure I'm giving you all accurate information. So nearly all federal contracting is governed by the federal acquisition regulations. This is important because if you all get into this, you have to understand this is the law that regulates all government contracting. So to understand that in the various sections that is relevant to what you're doing is critical to your success. The principal set of rules related to government procurement in the United States. The FAR technically applies only to the executive branch agencies, so some agencies such as the Postal Service are not required to follow this regulation. However, federal contracting includes any good or service purchased by the executive, legislative, or judicial branch of the federal government, although most federal spending is done by the executive branch. So let's look at what it takes to get into federal contracting. So of course, some of you have spoken to me, you know that you have to identify what your NAICS code is. But let's look at first what the SBA considers to be a small business. So now that we've discussed who the SBA is and the importance of including small businesses in federal procurement, let's look at what makes a business small. The SBA defines a small business as one that is a for-profit company that is independently owned and operated and has a place of business inside the United States, thereby contributing to the United States economy and labor force. And it's not dominant in its field on a national basis. So basically, we recommend that this is the sites that you can go to get your NAICS code. You need to identify your primary NAICS code. Your NAICS code is the industry where you earn most of your revenue. You can have secondary NAICS codes. So I have seen people who do their primary NAICS code may be janitorial services or no, landscaping. And then they also do fertilizing as secondary, but their main NAICS code is in landscaping. So let's use Deborah as an example here, a business sales. It may be business sales. Its primary NAICS code is in consulting, but her secondary NAICS code could be in some type of marketing or shredding of documents or anything of various things. So you want your NAICS code to be where your primary revenue, you earn your primary revenue. And you can find out what that NAICS code is by going to these links. If you need those links, of course, you can reach out to me and I will send you all the links. Now, you also must conform to industry size specific standards set forth in the provisions of 13 CFR Part 121. The SBA measures the size of small business according to the number of employees averaged over 12 months or its annual receipts over 5 years. Businesses that meet these criteria are considered small businesses and are eligible for federal programs that promote small business participation and government acquisitions. In addition to these, to the standard definition of small businesses, the SBA defines several other specific categories These small business types are small disadvantaged business, hub zone, women-owned small business, and service-disabled veteran-owned small business. In addition to the standard criteria that define small businesses, each of these small business types must meet additional specific criteria, which we'll go over later in the presentation. So when looking at the next step of how to, is it kind of how to get into government contracting, or if it's kind of right for you at this moment, you need to do your research. Once you establish your NAICS code, we certainly recommend that you go to usaspending.gov, look at the various agencies and look at what they have purchased in the past. If you want to look at the current needs, go to sem.gov, and what the agencies are looking to purchase in the future, you go to acquisitions.gov. It's critical that you do this research to find out if the market is there for you and find out what agencies purchase mostly in your NAICS code. Because as you'll see later in the presentation, I'm going to state that we definitely want, after you do this research before you even think of getting into government contracting or getting certified in any of our programs, to make sure that you have 2 or 3 agencies that you've identified that will definitely be purchasing your NAICS code that you can build relationships with. But this research is necessary. And we have the Apex accelerators that I'll talk about a little bit, who can help you navigate this process as our partner. This is one thing a lot of people want to know, and so I'll spend a little bit of time on this slide, how the government buys. This is critical that you all hear this part, because you can find out the different ways in which you can do business with the government. So agencies must automatically set aside acquisitions above the micro purchase threshold and below the simplified acquisition threshold. If an agency does not do this, they must document the reason. Currently, the micro purchase threshold is $10,000 and the simplified acquisition threshold is $250,000. A micro purchase is an acquisition of supplies or services using simplified acquisition procedures where competition is not necessarily required. So that's good. The threshold for these kinds of acquisitions is $2,000 for construction, $2,500 for services, and $10,000 for most goods. The default micro purchase limit is $10,000 in aggregate across like items before small purchase procedures kick in. Once the small purchase limit is reached, then 3 documented quotes are required for each purchase. The government usually makes these purchases with a credit card. So those of you, that could be a very lucrative area. If your business takes credit card payments, this is a way to really get in, a way to do business with the government, where you can kind of consistently get paid timely. Well, they pay timely, but get paid quickly. And there's no limit to those. So you can do multiple purchases of $10,000 or more. Excuse me. As required by the Small Business Act, contract actions between $15,000 and $25,000, the agency must display a notice or copy of the solicitation in a public place or by an electronic posting accessible by the public to ensure small businesses have fair opportunity to respond to the solicitation. The agency should provide as much advance notice as possible. The agency at a minimum must post the information no later than the issue date of the solicitation and keep the posting active for at least 10 days or until opening quotations, whichever is later. Okay, sorry. My goodness. Okay, contracts above $25,000 must be publicized to contract opportunities in sam.gov or at least 15 days before issuing the solicitation. For acquisitions above $250,000 SAT, the procurement must be set aside for small businesses if the rule of 2 is met. The rule of 2 requires a reasonable expectation that at least 2 responsible small business concerns that are competitive in terms of fair market price, quality, and delivery will compete. Accordingly, the agency must first consider the small business social economic programs before considering a general small business set aside, unless already in the 8A program. So as you can see, this is where those certifications really can come into play, because they have to consider people with those certifications or businesses with those certifications before even general set of small businesses. There are certain limitations on subcontracting for all contract awards as general small business set-asides or under the 8A Hub Zone Small Disadvantaged Women-Owned Small Business Programs. So, sorry. Okay. Organizations, now this is critical. Organizations that wish to do business with the federal government must first complete an entity registration at sam.gov. And small businesses may also provide information that populates the small, well, let me stay here for a second. You have to register in sam.gov because it's mandatory to bid for federal contracts. It's a means of electronic payment, and it provides you with your unique entity identifier number. And it includes your representations, your certifications as a small business, and it needs to be updated annually. Do I? Okay. Okay. Additionally, small businesses may also provide information that populates the SBA's dynamic small business search page, which is critical because this is how a lot of contracting officers identify who you are. This page needs to be, once your sam.gov registration is done, you get your certifications. This is like your online LinkedIn, your government contracting LinkedIn page. It needs to be complete. So contracting officers, if they're looking for you, they can see what you do, understand your business, understand how you can serve their agencies. So both sam.gov and the DSBS pages allows the agency's procurement and acquisitions team to search for small businesses based on criteria, including social economic factors, SAM, unique ID, CAGE, PSC, or NAICS, and company name and location. So you would, like I said, you would want to have this to be a complete page once you get into the process. So now we're going to get into the different certifications. So the Hub Zone, Service Disabled Veteran, Woman-Owned Small Business, and 8A certifications are all certifications that you have to go through the SBA to get now. Now you can self-certify as a small business in general just by registering sam.gov. But if you want these certifications, they must go through our SBA certification process. And you don't have to do that alone. We have resources to help you through that process. So we're going to look at the various programs here. So Section 8 of the Small Business Act established a program that allowed the SBA to enter contracts with other agencies and award subcontracts for performing those contracts to firms eligible for program participation. The program is the 8A Business Development Program. The 8A program provides business development support, helping eligible small disadvantaged businesses compete in the marketplace. It's a 9-year business development program. The government aims to award at least 12% of federal contracting dollars to qualify small disadvantaged businesses, 8A firms every year. So, these are the criteria you need to get into this program. You need to be a small business, not have previously participated in the 8A program, be at least 51% owned and controlled by U.S. citizens who are socially and economically disadvantaged. Socially disadvantaged means you're fitting one of the criteria, you know, African American, Hispanic, Native American, Asian American. Now, if you are not one of those socially fit those socially social criteria, you can also be considered if you are a person who has been in that's in an industry that has been historically where you've been ostracized or you've been disadvantaged severely. Like maybe a woman in, I don't know, I don't want to just say so, but I'll just say hypothetically, a woman in trucking or something, you know, that could be where you say they didn't let me in the union. I'm not being able to make headway. So maybe that if the 8A program does consider those aspects too when looking at the social as an exception to the social disadvantage aspect. Now, the economically disadvantaged aspect is what I have here below. You have a personal net worth of $850,000 or less, adjusted gross income of $400,000 or less, and assets totaling $6.5 million or less. You demonstrate good character, and you demonstrate the potential for success. That isn't seen as having been in business 2 years and have earned some revenue. Now, they do there's some exception. If you've been in business for less than 2 years, but you've earned a substantial amount of revenue, they will consider that. Now, the woman-owned small business program. Okay, let's look at this here. The government aims to award at least 5% of federal contracting dollars to women-owned small businesses every year. The SBA has determined that a total of 759 NAICS code industries are eligible for the federal contracting under the Women-Owned Small Business Program. This includes 113 NAICS code industries in the women-owned small businesses, in which women-owned small businesses are underrepresented, meaning contracting officers can make economically disadvantaged women-owned small businesses set aside and sole source awards in these industries, and 646 NAICS code industries in which women-owned small businesses are substantially underrepresented, meaning contracting officers can make women-owned small business set aside and sole source awards in these industries. So the economically disadvantaged women-owned small business concerns are eligible to be considered for both the woman-owned small business and economically disadvantaged women-owned small business set aside and sole source awards for all 759 NAICS code industries. Thus, the Women-Owned Small Business Program is designed to help women-owned small business and economically women-owned small business gain capacity and grow. So these are the criteria for this program, the Women-Owned Small Business Program. To be eligible for the Women-Owned Small Business Contracting Program, you must be small according to the SBA size standards, which we talked about earlier in this presentation. You need to be at least 51% owned and controlled by a woman who are US citizens, and have women manage day-to-day operations who also make long-term decisions. So they don't want any situations where a woman is like a figurehead and her husband or man is really running it. They want you involved in the business, really running it, and it's 51% owned by you. Now, to be economically disadvantaged, I don't need to read this. It's the same criteria that I outlined for the 8A program. So the economically disadvantaged criteria for 8A is the same for to be economically disadvantaged for woman-owned small business, outlined here. So, and these are the criteria. Then we have the Hub Zone program, which the government aims to award at least 3% of federal contracting dollars to Hub Zone certified small businesses each year. A Hub Zone is a historically underutilized business zone where the government is looking to foster economic activity such as job creation. Of the small business program, it is the only program not focused on the ownership of the business, but rather on the location of the business and its employees. So a Hub Zone small business is in a qualified low-income, rural, or urban community with at least 35% of their workforce residing in a Hub Zone area. Hub Zone small businesses are 51% owned and operated by a U.S. citizen, an agricultural cooperative, an Indian tribe, or a cooperative development corporation. So as you can see, and as I mentioned, I mentioned that to someone earlier today, sorry. The new map for the Hub Zone will be out on July 1st. The map is changing, but they have you can see if your address is in that Hub Zone now, but the permanent change will happen on July 1st, but they have released it where people can see if their business is in there. So it changes every 5 years. So it's changing for 2023. So that means it won't change again to 2028. And even if you are in the Hub Zone, or if the map changed, you'll have 3 years to make that transition if you're not in the Hub Zone after the 5 years. If you're not there because of the map change, they'll give you 3 years. You can be in the program until you'll have to transition out in that certification, So, and the last one we're going to look at is the service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. The government aims to award at least 3% of federal contracting dollars to service-disabled veteran firms every year. A service-disabled veteran-owned small business is 51% owned and operated by one or more veterans with VA-approved service-connected disabilities, as described in 13 CFR sections 125.8 through 125.13. As with any general rule, there are exceptions. Notably, the Department of Veteran Affairs under the Veterans First Contracting Program must set aside contracts for service-disabled veterans. Must set aside contracts for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses and veteran-owned small businesses, regardless of these thresholds. For acquisitions below $5 million, the VA may use non-competitive procedures, meaning directed sole source contracts to award to a VSOB or a service-disabled veteran-owned small business. So that's this is the criteria to be a service-disabled veteran. So when looking at, are you ready to get into looking at your business and seeing if it's ready to get into government contracting, you need to look at how does selling to the government fit into your overall business strategy? What are your core competencies? What agencies need what you provide? Like I mentioned, that goes back to looking at those 3 websites, usaspending.gov, sam.gov, acquisitions.gov. Okay, what sets you apart from the competition? The competition in the federal market, not just general competition. Are you willing and able to devote resources to win government contracts? Because many people, they are working in their business and don't have time to work on their business. So you need somebody who's working in your business and you can work on the business. So you can, look at how to get these, work on business development, because business development is very critical in being successful in this field. What products or items do you make? What products or items are you capable of making? How can you use your same equipment and process to make things the government needs and wants? What haven't you considered before? How can you collaborate with other businesses to give the government a total package? So you probably need to partner with other businesses to meet the government's needs sometimes, depending on what you're looking at, what contract. And again, I'm going to go through this really quickly. Last slide. Things to look at when looking at getting into government contracting. Have you done your market research? Again, I can't emphasize this enough. You must look at those 3 sites once you identify your NAICS code, sam.gov, USA Spending, and acquisitions.gov to do your research. What size of contract have you handled? Can you prime or should you be a subcontractor? So have you been a city contractor or a state contractor before? Do you have any past performance? So to know what kind of contract size can you really do? Can you look for strategic partners and mentors to team up on larger contracts? How far can you travel and make a profit? This is critical, very critical. We recommend that you at least be able to travel 500 miles, because there could be work in Colorado, Iowa. There's projects all over the country. So you can make a lot of profit if you're able to expand and travel to different places to do the work. Or if not, you need to really build a robust relationship with the agencies in your vicinity in terms of building with the city, state, and federal agencies and get maybe multi-year contracts with them. What sets you apart from your competition? We just talked about that on the previous slide. That's something you would need to have in your business plan. And you, of course, when you're registered in sam.gov and you're ready to do the get into government contracting, of course, you need to prepare a quality capability statement. And these are your government contract SBA contacts here. What I want to emphasize is do your research and create a business plan for federal contracting to just do this. Don't just, kind of willy-nilly enter this industry at all, because you don't want to have gotten these certifications and you're like, I can't even get a contract. I don't know how to do it. We don't want you to be in that state. We want you to work with the SBA, and then these are your Apex Accelerator contacts here. We will refer you to get assigned a Apex Accelerator consultant based on where you live. They're in these different locations, and they're assigned to you based on your business address. And they can help walk you through the certification process, even registering in sam.gov and everything. And then the Nebraska Business Development Center on that side, they also help with business plan development, and as well as business sales. They help with that as well. So we definitely recommend that you really, like I said, do your research and create your business plan. So when you come into this, you can hit the ground running. So any questions? Okay.
Thank you so much, April, for the presentation. We have a question from Nika, and I'll get to you in a second, Dorothy.
Actually, I have the question answered. I'm looking at the list. So clarification. So my business is registered as consulting. So would I need to just do a secondary NAC code under finance and insurance? 522300. I looked it up already.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Next, Dorothy.
I was wondering if you can tell us more about that power of two. You were talking about teaming up for business and just wondering how we can use that power of two to our advantage.
Oh, the rule of two. Is it the rule of two? Okay. Yeah, that's actually on the contracting officer's end. Like, that's just, you can, if you have, let's say you're a woman on small business, and then there's another woman on small business that's in the area, and there's like a, I don't know, $20 million contract, and it's kind of, y'all are, you know, they can look just at you two, as long as there's two businesses that have these certifications that can compete. That's all they need to give the contract. That's what that means. It doesn't have to be 5, 10 businesses. It just needs to be 2 businesses. And we also have the mentor protege program and joint venture programs. When you get into this, there's the SBA helps facilitate those programs as well. You know, but that also, you just would need to build up some relationship, because you may have a woman-owned business that you all can work together, and if you all can both bid on the contract. I shouldn't be saying this. I'm just kind of giving some things I've heard. I hope, you know, but I've heard things like people have said, we're both going to bid. If you win, I'll subcontract on you. If I win, you'll subcontract on me. You get what I'm saying? So, or sometimes they come in with the bid together, you know, say we'll work on this together. So that's what they mean, kind of that strategic teaming where everybody wins, you know, but you need to kind of build up those relationships with other women-owned small businesses in your vicinity that are in your same NAICS code, that you feel like we can work together to really make sure we're getting contracts. And, you know, that's some ways I've seen people do things. But yeah. So I hope that,
you know, like April said, certified women-owned small business, and that's something that I have done also. It's building relationships and finding someone also with the same NAICS code, and then you have an MOU signed. I recommend having MOU signed, an agreement that once either of you or one of you wins the contract, then you will give some business to the other company, and it helps. For instance, we are in marketing and we do signage. We do t-shirts, hoodies, and I'm a small business and I don't have the capacity to handle maybe a contract of 1 million. That's probably, I don't know how many t-shirts within 2 weeks. So I have an MOU with another small business where when I win the contract, I can show that I have the capacity to handle it because I'm in collaboration with this other business. And I believe agencies do appreciate that collaboration.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Any other question? Is there anyone here who is registered in sam.gov? I will say get started today, like right away. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of preparation as well. Make sure you have everything ready, meaning your EIN number, your LLC documents, your tax documentation, your addresses. Make sure they match and your business name. Like you need to have everything ready to upload as you're going through that same registration. I've done it myself. When I did it, I started it in 2021, and April wasn't in Nebraska at that time. So my application was returned probably twice, and then I had to reach out to NBDC, the new Apex, and one of the, how do you call them? One of the, what's the titles?
The consultant?
One of the consultants was able to help me go through the process one more time and make sure you have your NAICS codes ready as well. So they helped me go through the process one more time. And when I submitted it the third time, it was approved. And when I say make sure you start right away, it takes probably 3 to 4 months to hear back from them. You even forget that you have something submitted, and then out of the blue, you receive your email, congratulations, you've been approved. So make sure you have it, you start it right away. And then once you do that, go through the certification with the SBA or other agencies. And April, if you don't mind me saying this, there is a workshop coming up that you're organizing in collaboration with other entities on May 4th. And you'll have a lot more opportunities to hear about certification and the benefits of certification. I've been introduced to so many agencies. April made sure she sent my capability statement, and that's something else that you need to get ready as well, the capability statement. It's like the introduction about your business and what you're capable of doing, and your past performances. Like April said, they would like to know if you've ever handled a government contract before. If you haven't, like me, when I started, at least have a list of the people that you've done business with. If you have some numbers, if you have contact information, I always put contact information on there. I put logos on there. And few agencies, few companies that I've done business with, I have the logo on my capability statement with the contact name and contact information. That way, when they see it, there is a trust. They know at least, the transferable skills, and if you're able to, it's the same compliance. If you're able to do business with maybe Kiwit, or you're able to do business with this agency, then you're able to do business with any government agencies as well. And they know we're just getting started, so they will give you that opportunity. That's why they're there. They're looking for you. You just need to be ready. Any questions?
Yes, I wanted to say one last thing. The way I work, for those in Nebraska, I don't, because I don't know how far this will go out. If you are, the people who are attending, if you know of people yourself and others who are interested in getting into this, you definitely can call and schedule a meeting with me, because I would like to learn about your business and learn where you are, and then make a direct referral to our Apex accelerators or our other SBA resources. I don't just, hey, go over there and talk to them. No. I need to really understand where you are, where your business is and what it needs, because sometimes your business may need to work on, you may need to take a month or so to work on your business plan before we even do that referral. And I need to get you to someone who can help you get your business plan set up. And then we come back in 2 months or so to get you into government, registered in the government contracting. So SBA has tons of resources, but it's critical that those that are interested, and even government, of course, in government contracting, that I meet with you and really understand where you are, so you can be referred to the right resources, so you're not spinning your wheels. you know. And then there's kind of an action plan in place, you know. So, and there is a resource for every aspect: lending, mentorship, counsel, business development, whatever you need. We just want to make sure, I want to make sure that, you know, you're referred to the right resources and timely. So that's what I have.
And like April said, preparation is key. Make sure you know exactly. I see a lot of consulting businesses, and I mean, consulting myself, it was very difficult to sell to government agencies. I needed to go back and look exactly into the service that I was offering as a consultant, and look into the needs of those agencies as well. For instance, I help startup businesses, minority-owned businesses, their capacity building, training, and so on. Is any government agency interested in that? Not really. So what else do? I do leadership training. I'm a certified John Maxwell, and I do this assessment with the HR team. So that was one that I was able to actually brand as a consultant. And then I was able to brand my project management services as well. Government agencies have hiring events, and they're always looking for project managers. So I was able to brand that as well, in addition to the marketing product that I offer. So not everything that you offer will be attractive to government agencies, but if you look well and you get to know those agencies out there, you'll be able to find something to offer them. And when you go to April, and make sure you have the correct NAICS code and tell her exactly, okay, this is the agency, this is what I offer, and this is the agency I would like you to connect me with. And then she will connect you right to that procurement officer, and you'll take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because with the small business specialist, when we do the introductions, the next thing they typically do is reach out to you for a meeting. So you want to, you know, that's why we take you through some processes, because you want to be ready. And then what they do is kind of introduce you to the contracting officers within the agency. They'll sometimes put you in front of 2 or 3 for you to pitch, you know? So you want to, the small business specialist is kind of I introduce you there, and then they navigate you through their agency based on what you do. So yeah, that's that's why I said we definitely want to have that small business counseling session meeting with you to understand where you are and build you up from there. Yeah.
We'll take more questions.
What is it? I was going to ask Dorothy, what is your business? What do you?
So,
I'm sorry, I didn't want to put you
okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. I got to get my practice in, or Nika gonna get me. Look, here she comes. So in the past, I've done nonprofit, all of the things, but I'm switching over to for-profit businesses. Right now would be identified as consulting right now, but I also work in venture capital. So I really want to sit down and figure that exactly out with you. I am not advanced in this process at all, so bear with me. But bare minimum right now is just consulting, and I want to scale that up and make something that's really, really valuable in my community. So still trying to figure it out is the most honest answer.
Well, you know, you definitely schedule an appointment. So, because I mean, it's not something you have to sit and figure out alone. We have SCORE mentors that'll help you. If, you know, they say the SCORE mentors help you when it's just in your head. They can, I mean, now keep in mind, they can help from all the way up to, like I mentioned to a person I was in a counseling session with today, they can help you from when it's just here to when you're at a place where I have 2 businesses and I'm trying to expand. You know, SCORE mentors can help you anywhere, but definitely they will be valuable to help you when you're kind of like, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to think through that. We want to get you connected to that person who can help you think through some of these things.
1,000%. And I'm really a collaborator and a connector. So seeing how I can get a robust group of professionals that makes us unbeatable, and then we all take those next steps together. But I'm willing, I'm open and willing to navigate this and go from there.
And also, Dorothy, you can even do business, like you said, with nonprofit and corporations. They usually, I know NAM is a nonprofit association of the Midlands. They usually look for speakers when it comes to nonprofits, and you can do business with them easily. You can have your presentations ready and reach out to them and apply to be a speaker. So all the services that you have available for nonprofit, you can go through them.
Yeah. And is it Nika?
Yes, it's Nika.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to, so we only have a couple of minutes left. So I just wanted to see so Dorothy, I wanted to say, Dorothy, so you're going to reschedule an appointment with me, right? Okay. And Nika, I just wanted to see what your business was.
So I'm the owner and founder of a company called Budget to Success. So I teach about the importance of financial literacy, focusing on budgeting, savings, and credit. So I do a lot of public speaking. I do a lot of financial literacy classes and webinars to get people homeowner readiness. I've done a lot of work with Holy Name and other government organizations that was not able to help people become homeowners as quickly as I can. So I have curated a blueprint on how to help people overcome poverty, and just having those uncomfortable conversations and identifying my target audience is specifically Black women between the age of 25 and 33, of just getting more financial readiness. So sometimes that may be doing a one-on-one budgeting, creating a debt management plan, making sure that where's your credit, teaching people on how to leverage their credit, how do you borrow the equity in your home. So a lot of it is consulting to be able to identify what is their needs to be able to bridge that gap. Omaha Bridges Out of Poverty have reached out to me, but what I'm not going to do is be a Black face for a predominantly white organization just to refer people to them. It does not make sense of how much money that they want to pay someone as a stipend when you're talking about single parents, in a sense of they just don't have the adequate time to do something additional. So a lot of organizations know who I am. I do a lot of work behind the scenes, but a lot of it is just how do we help bridge that wealth gap? And it's from that financial literacy standpoint, because everybody don't realize the relationship with money stems from some type of trauma. So I do a lot of events, I travel, things like that. I'm going international now, but it's just really how do we focus on bridging that wealth gap ultimately?
Yes, I love that. That's wonderful. Like I just told Dorothy, if I'm here to help you facilitate that. We have SBA resources that can help you.
When the time is right, I'll reach out to you, April. I'm really big on time and capacity, and I'm scaling right now and pivoting. So I have to finish some launches that I have, but I'm definitely considering getting to it.
Absolutely. Just letting you know we're here.
Thank you.
And let other people know that you're connected with many people that we're here as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Nika, I know you said you've reached out to Omaha Bridges, or they've reached out to you. I'm actually one of the lead facilitators, and I first went to them to teach or to sell my financial literacy curriculum to them. And that was in 2019, but they told me what they have to offer. I accepted it, and I became a lead facilitator, which was a good opportunity to polish my pitch, because the curriculum also is good, and I ended up becoming one of the board members for 3 years.
Nice.
So that helped a lot. The other institution is Financial Hope Collaborative with Creighton University. They're always looking for people like you, and Operation Hope, which is a bigger one. Look into Operation Hope.
I actually remember talking to one of them about a year, I think when COVID happened, because we were supposed to collaborate. So thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, I participated in the program. It's called 700 Club, and I ended up speaking at
Yep.
one of the events in Atlanta, and they feature me on so many of the flyers and the programming. They're a very good organization for you. I know
Okay.
for sure they're looking for financial well-being coaches.
Okay. So can you send me your information so we can get together after this too?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Any other business that would like to introduce themselves? We have about 7 minutes, so April can give you some guidance.
I was just
Okay.
gonna say thanks for your time, April. Is there anything that you need from any of us, or what ways we can support you?
Oh, there's a lot of people who find government contracting intimidating. They feel scared, especially those in the minority community. I want it to be spread around that there are resources, more be a mouthpiece in the communities. Let them know that there are resources here. It's not as intimidating. There's some people, we're here to walk them through step by step, help them get into this and their support to help them succeed in this realm. And that when you speak of economic development in minority communities specifically, government contracting in terms of federal government contracting, that, like I said, it's not just a slogan here when I say the federal government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the world, not in America, the world. So you're getting plugged into that, understanding how to do business with the government and being able to do that is really good for, could be really good for your business growth.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, some of these contracts are multi-year. It's not just, oh, I'm going to do one contract and then I'm done. Sometimes you can get a contract for 5 years, So, we want people to understand that this is a way to really create generational wealth for your legacy for your business. For you to build your business to be successful, and then for you to create a business that you can pass down to your children as well. It's sustainable once you understand how to do it. And I'm not saying it's easy, just go get into it, but I am saying that there are resources to help you succeed. And it's not something you have to navigate alone. And I need that to be spread to the community. All the business, small business owners, because I think many of them are intimidated by the process. And also remember, there are sweet spots in city and state contracting. It's not just federal. So, and corporate, like J. Dunn, Fewitt, Mutual of Omaha, all of these major corporations also have contracting goals they must meet with doing business with small business owners as well. So that May 4th event that Deborah just mentioned is where we're bringing together the city of Omaha, the federal government, and the Mountain Plains Minority Supplier Development Council. They're going to teach you how to do business in all these different spheres. And then even if you're a business that wants to do business under the Department of Transportation through the infrastructure bill, Biden's infrastructure bill, there's a person there we have a session on how to obtain the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification. So there's city Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification, how to become a minority business enterprise under the Mountain Plains Minority Supplier Development Council. Their headquarters is the National Minority Supplier Development Council. Okay, and that teaches you how to do business with corporations. And you can get the certification to do business with corporations. And then, of course, SBA will be there to present on how to do business with the federal government. So we tried to create a situation where you can get all you need in one setting. in terms of getting exposure to these different certification programs and their benefits. So, because that is a lot of times how business, you can gain a lot of, what am I trying to say? Contracts, getting contracts with these entities, city, state, and federal government is how you can really have some sustainable revenue.
And that's right. I can attest to that. For sustainable revenue, that's your cash flow. As a small business, how many contracts can you get in able to remain sustainable? I've seen small businesses out there, they just have a small location, and for several years, I've wondered, how are they able to sustain their businesses? And a little bit of my background, I used to work for the state of Nebraska. I worked for education, health and human services as well. And one of the positions I was in was grant manager. When I got to that position and I saw some minority businesses, I knew how they were able to sustain their businesses because they have contracts for 5 years, 10 years, and those are not small. Like a contract of 75,000, contract of 500,000, and not just one contract with one agency. For instance, they have 2 of those contracts for 5 years. That's all you need. That's all you need to sustain your business. So if you've ever wondered, how are they sustaining, some of them, how are they sustaining their businesses? That's what they're doing. You don't need to be on social media, marketing, and, it's tiring. It's very tiring. At some point, you get discouraged, but if you go after your certification, and like April said, it's not an easy process. You have to want it and be ready and prepare for it. And if you do, you'll be successful at it. Trust me. I went through the process. I know what it is. I know you can do it as well. It's 7 p.m. One last question or one more comment?
I'll
Thanks,
jump in.
everyone. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say it's amazing to see Black women on this call. I know there's some other folks on this call, but some of the places that you all are in, Nika included, April, Deb, it's just amazing to see. And you all are my representation. And I just want to share that with you all. Your positions matter, but also your personal positions matter. And it's just downright good to see. And I appreciate you all for that. And that's Nika included.
Thank you, baby.
Well, thank you, Dorothy, Nika, Shalom, Stephen. I see Theo, and I know some other people are watching live on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, April, for your time. And if
Thank
there
you.
are no other questions,
Oh, so we're done. Are we done? I think you're on mute. You're on.
yes, I'm on mute. Thank you, April. Let me end this one because we are live on YouTube, and I will call you right after.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.